But that's clearly a little bit of a life story in that song there, isn't there? I love that, Go for a Ruby Murray. There's obviously Cockney roots going on in there.
So, yeah, I mean, some of my family were from over that way. But I spent a lot of time over there living in London and the areas around. I can't remember how old I was, late teens, possibly, early 20s, seeking the music scene. You know, so I used to go busking out there. And I knew people who were involved in the music business at the time over there. I never got anywhere with it, but it was great fun hanging out with some guys that I'd see. So I knew people who worked on Top of the Pops and worked with Thompson Twins and blah. There was Doctor and the Medics and all that. And so I'd meet all these people, and it was just really exciting.
What I loved about the song and I loved about the lyrics is it felt like a real slice of your life.
Yeah.
You know, and I love that whole concept of sometimes things go right, sometimes things go wrong.
I mean, it's true, isn't it?
It's exactly how it works, isn't
universal truth.
Okay, look, I like that bouncy number, and I don't want to drag us down too deep, but I do want to talk about Letters in the Rain, and I want to talk about Kim, and I want to talk about the Roy Castle Cancer Fund as well. Such a big deal. Roy Castle, who played in countless smoky bars and pubs and clubs all his whole career and died of lung cancer, and extraordinary charity he left behind him. So just tell us a little bit about Kim and about her illness and about your why that led you to being such a big supporter.
This was before, just pre-COVID.
Yes.
And we'd been out to, I think it was the Fairy Festival over in the New Forest, taking the grandkids out there, and had a great day. We were only there for a day because we got the grandkids and everything, but it was wonderful. And the next day, she said she didn't feel very well. Went down to the doctors and she collapsed in the doctor's surgery and was rushed off to hospital. And I think it was pneumonia or something she'd got. And anyway, it sort of went on, and this was the start of it. So really, that time in that festival was the last time she was kind of okay.
Yeah.
They said, "Oh, there's something wrong here. You know, not sure, but go away and have some time out, do some things."
Yeah.
You know? So we started planning to go around Scotland and do things like this, and have a sort of a month out while we were waiting. It never happened because COVID struck.
Yes, of course.
So we never got away, and the diagnosis came in, you know, that it was terminal, and we didn't really know how long, but a couple of years, 3 years possibly. And we were optimistic. We thought that we'd definitely get more than that. But with COVID, they sort of she did have the chemo, but then other things were starting to work. I can't remember, immunotherapy and different things, but it really affected it. The resource people weren't. There was no Macmillan weren't there because they'd get COVID, so there was nobody around.
Yeah, of course. It was just the worst possible time.
It was the worst possible time. So we couldn't do anything. We were stuck at home. We weren't getting the support that we wanted or anything like that. So it was, you know, the worst. It's never going to be good for anybody. But this was terrible. But during the time when that was going on, you feel so helpless, absolutely useless. You know, there's nothing you can do. But I wanted to do something, you know. I wanted to feel as though I had some worth, as though I had something to and just take some tiny bit of control in life back. And so I started writing a couple of songs. I didn't really know what to do with them. I contacted Nick Capaldi at Grinning Dog Records.
Yeah, which you've had some fantastic collaborations with Nick as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, Nick and Grace are superb. With Grinning Dog Records and the studio there. The studio's absolutely superb. You know, if anyone needs somewhere to record, go and check that out. So I was a fan of his work, and I was a bit nervous about sending a couple of songs to him, even though I knew them. But he said, "Yeah, that's great." He said, "Listen, come over. Have you got more?" And I was like, "Yeah."
I better write those.
Why did I just say that?
And this is now Letters in the Rain coming together, isn't it? This is the birth of Letters in the Rain.
We recorded Lion's Pride.
Yeah.
And
first track on the album, I think, from memory.
Yeah, it was the first single and released that.
Yeah.
basically wrote and recorded one song a week for the 11 weeks.
Wow.
To do the album. So it was quite pressured, and we couldn't do it in.
And a bit emotional, I'm guessing, as well, I would think.
Incredibly emotional.
Yeah.
But wonderful, because Kim was able to hear the songs take shape. And she'd heard me sing plenty of times before and things, but to then get something back and I'd say, listen to this, it's all been sort of mastered and this is what it's going to sound like, and it was, it's a completely different thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you hear, and all the bits put on, and Nick was producing it. It was like, right, we're going to do this, and then we'll try and get a charity involved and see if we can raise some money.
Oh, lovely.
I think Cancer Research UK was my first thought.
Right.
But it didn't work out with them. There was a lot of red tape. Unfortunately,
very big
big charities.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there is. Contacted Roy Castle Foundation, Lung Cancer Foundation. That was the next on the list. And I've got it the other way around. I thought, the bigger one probably accepts us, and a smaller one, maybe they're not going to be interested. But it was the other way around. And they were superb. They just went, that's great. They listened to all the songs, sent them all the songs. And they endorsed it, and they've put their logo on the album and everything. And
oh, lovely!
That was fantastic. The nice thing about doing that album, even though it wasn't done in a traditional way because of lockdown, so it was all done we couldn't go in the studio and do it that way. It was done on a laptop, and most of it was remote.
It's amazing now, isn't it? You actually look back at that time and you think, did that really happen? I mean, it is mind-blowing to think what we actually went through. And if I can imagine you trying to put an album together and at the same time with Kim being so dreadfully ill. I mean, it must have been.
I mean, because half the time it was just, where do we find toilet rolls and food, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course it was.
There was all those problems going on as well. But we did it. And we were lucky that some people played on it. Pete Thompson, he played with Robin Trower, drum. Robin Trower, But these were all click tracks. They sent click tracks away.
In the compilation of this, in putting this together, where did Flowers on the Door come? Was that an early track on the album?
Early, yeah, it was.
I would imagine that's possibly the most emotionally charged of all the tracks on the.
I think it probably is, because it's about loss.
Yeah, exactly
in a different way, but I was still thinking about loss and how I could maybe translate that into a song. And I'm quite visual. Like, I'd like to paint and draws. So I see songs sometimes in a visual way, and the story evolves around that. And I could see this guy in a sort of mobile home, and it's about the Dust Bowl. So it's kind of, I'd got this Midwest thing in the Depression.
Yeah, that's exactly how it comes across with the tin, living in the tin can. Look, I don't want to. I'm going to push us back into more music, and the only reason that this is really fascinating to talk about, so important, but I want to hear more of the songs. Right. Otherwise, we won't squeeze enough in. So I'm going to push you into our next song, and just tell us a bit about it. What's our next song going to be?
So this is called Never Enough.
Okay. Yep.
And there's basically never enough of the good things. It always seems to be a lot of negative out there all the time. And it feels as though there isn't enough there isn't enough joy, there isn't enough good things in our lives. But there is. It's just that I think we get a warped thing. Negative things have much more impact, don't they? That's why it's always negative on the news. Nobody sits and listens to the news if it was all good. No. Sadly.
So true.
Something to do with human nature, but it was kind of about that. But then harking back to simpler times, about just breathing the air and listening to a guitar and things like that. So that's kind of the
Where does this come chronologically? This song in your?
So this was probably, I think, I wrote it beginning of last year, end of the year before. So it's quite new. It's not been released.
Okay.
I've played it at a few places live, a few gigs, but it's not been released.
Wonderful. Come on, let's hear it then.
Okay. There's never quite enough of everything I love. Shed loads of stuff I love to hate. And there's always a bill, just when I thought that I could fill my car up and get on out of town. When I look down on my phone, the one I never own, it tells me the whole world's gone to pot. stories and the reels. It makes my life seem so unreal. Is it all a dystopian movie plot? So take me to the country, let me breathe some thoughts of when we used to sit around and laugh, all filled with hope. A fire and old guitar, the clean air and the shining stars. Back then we knew exactly who we were. Who we were. Now all the news is full of fear. The ones who stir the pot, it's clear, are only in it to make themselves more money. And the rest of us are tiny cogs, we only live for them to flog, while they chill out in some tax haven country. But we keep on grafting through thick and thin, while another politician's been on telly saying how we've got it good. And they put in claims for their second homes, while we sit down here on our own to another microwave naff meal for one. So take me to the country, let me breathe some thoughts of when we used to sit around and laugh, all filled with hope. A fire and old guitar, the clean air and the shining stars. Back then we knew exactly who we were. Who we were. Intolerance and bigotry, racism, inequality are the tools they use to divide this land. But don't listen to their rhetoric, the hate-filled horse of politics. The real power lies in our own hands. Because no matter what they say, as they try to get their way, keep focused on the good, it's not too late. As they try to put us down, keep us weak with fear and doubt, together we can free our streets from hate. So take me to the country, let me breathe some thoughts of when we used to sit around and laugh, all filled with hope. A fire and old guitar, the clean air and the shining stars. Back then we knew exactly who we were. Our compassion is a shield of love. No power here on earth can touch solidarity among the poor and true. And if you hold it close enough, when times get real and tough, that shield will help to see you through. See you through. There's never quite enough of all the things I love, but they can never turn that love to hate. Because together we are strong, and our voices join as one. The power of our song will drive them out. In all the years I've been on earth, never have I found the worth in worrying about who thinks they've got the answers. Cause all the time we spend reflecting, life throws us curves we weren't expecting. So sod it all and live the life you want. So take me to the country, let me breathe some thoughts of when we used to sit around and laugh, all filled with hope. A fire and old guitar, the clean air and the shining stars. Back then we knew exactly who we were. So take me to the country, let me breathe some thoughts of when we used to sit around and laugh, all filled with hope. A fire and an old guitar, the clean air and the shining stars. Back then we knew exactly who we were. Who we were.
Wow, very good.
Thank you very much.
I get the sense you're really warming up now that voice came through.